There we go.
There it is. What's going on, man?
How you doing?
I'm doing all right. I'm excited, man. I'm excited for Brother Kane to be back in Saginaw, February 11th. The show is coming up quick, and it's crazy, man, to think that 2023 is the 30-year anniversary of the debut album. That's huge.
I know, man. It's crazy. I think I'm still wrestling with getting my head around that. It's a big deal. It's a big deal. Matt, I never saw any of this coming. Even kind of putting the band back together. Um, Everybody's life. I know my life had just really kind of taken a different path, and I was just sort of moving forward and doing other stuff. And I got to give a lot of credit to my manager, Kevin. He's really been kind of carrying the charge on this. And, to come back to Saginaw, man, I mean, Saginaw, really all of Michigan in general was just such incredible. Um, it was just Brother Kane territory, man. I mean, from the first single, when we put Got No Shame out in the summer of 1993, Michigan radio in general just really embraced it. So I think it's only fitting that we would be playing some shows, especially in Saginaw here in 2023, man. I'm stoked about it.
Yeah, you're playing Detroit the night before, and then playing the Vault in Saginaw with John Corabi. And I have to imagine that with it being the 30-year anniversary of the debut album, that's sort of the reason to go out and celebrate this album and go out and play these shows, right?
Well, there's no question when we first started talking about it about a year ago. That was when I first called Glenn Maxey, and we kind of kicked the idea around. He was every bit as shocked as I was. He's like, "What?" Just didn't see it coming. But yeah, the fact that it has been 30 years, and I have to say, Matt, that really my whole career, I've performed those songs off of that first record ever since. Even after the band broke up in 2000, I continued to play solo gigs. I would do solo acoustic stuff, singer-songwriters, storytellers kind of things. And people would always want to hear how those songs were written, what the inspiration was. And, to hear them on the radio again, or fans coming up when I was with Alice Cooper. Oh, I love Brother Kane. Or I would be in Germany with Thin Lizzy, and somebody would come up with a Brother Kane album for me to sign. So it's a testament to the songs. And, again, man, I'm still a little shocked that all this is happening, and I'm having a ball. I'm having a blast. The guys are having a great time. The band sounds amazing, and I look forward for us coming to Saginaw and let you see that for yourself, man.
Now, outside of a couple of reunion shows here and there, correct me if I'm wrong, but Brother Kane was basically inactive for 20 years. So tell me what it was like to get back on stage, even though you have played these shows solo, whatever. Tell me what it was like to go back on stage, play in those reunion shows like last year with Glenn, and getting that whole Brother Kane experience again. What was that like for you?
I knew the songs would be well received just because the fans had kept them alive all these years. There was definitely a different energy about walking out on stage and having someone say, "Ladies and gentlemen, Brother Kane." It had a different energy to it. And the biggest kick for me really was looking over to my left at Glenn. Um, I've said it before, Matt. I mean, there would not be a Brother Kane had it not been for Glenn Maxey. He was the only guy that kind of made the transition from a band called Child that we showcased for all the labels with. I was the lead guitar player. We had a different singer at that time. And it was a lot more metal, kind of heavier, sort of British metal based kind of thing. And it didn't work out with that singer. We changed drummers twice. We changed, everything just kept changing. And Glenn was the one that said, "Hey, man, what if you became the singer?" I was like, "I don't think so, bro." And he's like, "Listen, I hear you sing these, you'll sing a Doobie Brothers song, or you'll sing a Greg Allman song, or I would cover like the Black Crowes." And he would go, "Man, I believe every word you say when you sing that stuff." He says, I want you to do it." So with his encouragement, I got behind the microphone as well. And, you know, about a year and a half later, Got No Shame was the #1 song at rock radio all over North America. So it's definitely kind of dream stuff. So that's the biggest kick for me right now, is to have Glenn standing next to me. Listen, man, when Glenn left Brother Kane in 1994, Matt, he didn't play music anymore. He took a regular job, raised his kids, just went down a completely different path. So, for him to be on the stage again, standing next to me, holding that bass the way he does, no denying, man, it's the biggest kick for me, is to be playing with Glenn.
It's crazy when you hear those stories and you think how different things could have been if Glenn, as you're going through this stuff with Child and it's not working out, you're flipping out band members, and he goes, "Hey, man, what if you do it?" And you're apprehensive, you're a bit tentative about it, and now we're here 30 years later celebrating the anniversary of an album that had #1 hits, and that may not have ever happened if Glenn doesn't say, "Hey, dude, why don't you give it a shot?"
I think you're right. I don't believe it would have happened, Matt. I had zero thought of being the singer. I know lots of musicians, man, drummers, piano players, they're on stage and they're like, "Man, I wish I was in the middle. I wish I was the guy getting all the attention." I'm just telling you, brother, I didn't want it. I wanted to be Jimmy Page. I wanted to be Joe Perry. I kept looking for my partner to kind of form a great band around. And we were running out of time. We did have a development deal with Virgin Records, and that was a big help, man. They were paying for our demos, and and so that A&R guy, Aaron Jacobus, he deserves some credit too, man. I think he and Glenn kind of conspired. Let's talk Damon into doing it. So it couldn't have seen this coming, man. I mean, it would make a great documentary. There's no doubt about it. It would.
You mentioned the passion of the fans and going out and playing these shows, whether it's Skynyrd or Alice Cooper or Black Star Riders, that people are still coming up to you and talking Brother Kane. What's it like now to go out with Brother Kane and play for those fans that have been so passionate about this music for so long?
I recognize a lot of faces out there, Matt. I wouldn't have thought that possible, but I do. They were there for us in the beginning. Now they're bringing their friends or they're bringing their kids to the show. Such a mind blower to see, a 14, 18-year-old kid there with his dad, and he's singing every word because he's grown up with this music because his dad has shoved it down his throat, his whole life. But the connection with the the fans are everything, man. I mean, there wouldn't be a reunion, really, if it weren't for the fans. And look, Matt, there's no denying, Brother King, we never really kind of poked through that next level to where, we could sell 1,500, 2,000 tickets anywhere, maybe in our hometown. But we were just kind of all over the place trying to build it, trying to figure it out. And by the time we got through our third record, Wishpool, which is my favorite album from top to bottom, everything had changed at the record company. More importantly, everything had changed at rock radio. And all these things were out of our control. We didn't have any impact over that. So, we just called it a day because we just felt exasperated, and we were definitely frustrated at feeling like we were starting over every time we would put a new record out. So I guess I circle back to the quality of the songs. When you're writing and recording, you don't really know. You just know, hey, man, I think this is a good song, and the band is feeling it and playing it great. So yeah, it's a bizarre litmus test to come all these years later and see that the songs have stood up and the people dig it. And as long as they'll come, man, we're going to keep playing.
It's interesting you mentioned Wishpool, and I'm not sure if you saw this. We posted it on our social media, but in our studios here in Saginaw, I've started working there when I was 19 years old in like 2002. We have had an autograph poster, Wishpool, signed by just you, that is hung in the hallway. We have gold records. We have other stuff. That poster has been there for as long as I can remember, and it's never moved.
Wow. That mad. Oh man, listen, when we come to town, I wish I could put eyes on that. Maybe you could just take a picture of it and post
Yeah,
it on your
I
socials.
think I
That's
tagged the
awesome.
Brother Kane. I think I tagged your accounts on social media, so it should be there. Yeah, it's a yellow frame. I mean, I have it burned into my memory from walking by it every single day walking to the studio. So
Well, again, man, Saginaw was always there for us. With all of the things that changed and evolved or disappeared from 93 all the way to 99, man, Saginaw as just a committed supporter of Brother Kane was unwavering. So you can imagine, man, how excited I was when I got that email from from our team and said, "Hey guys, we're going to play the Vault in Saginaw." I was like, "Yes, all right, there's a place I recognize." So
yeah,
it's fun.
it's going to be awesome to have you guys back on February 11th. And of course, the questions, when bands reunite, they start playing shows. People start asking, "Okay, we're going to hear these songs that are 30 years old, 25 years old. What are the chances that with you and Glenn back together now that there might be some possible new Brother Kane at some point?"
It's listen, man, I have said it in a couple of other interviews. It's no big secret. I mean, we're absolutely going to do it. Listen, brother, you know this, Matt. You've kept up with my career even a little bit enough to know that, I'm a songwriter, and I just have to always be moving the ball forward in some way. So for us to put the band back together, and we're committed to doing this, man, like long time. Like let's play Brother Kane shows whenever we can. Let's do it. Then we have to, we gotta write some new songs. We got a half a dozen things, man, already that are sounding good and coming together. Um, I know if I were a fan of a band of this nature that had gone away for all this time, and the principal songwriter had done these other projects ever since, it's like, wow. So what does he have to say now? How would a Brother Kane record sound now after going through all these things and living all this life? And gosh, man, I sure hope I'm a better writer now than I was 25. I'm definitely more confident and I'm more comfortable. More importantly, I'm just really comfortable, um, saying what I want to say. And I enjoy the process a lot more, to tell you the truth. Songwriting felt difficult for me in the 90s for the obvious reason I had never really been the singer. I could bring you 40 guitar riffs any day. But hey, man, you got to write lyrics to 20 songs. That was massive. That was a lot of work for me, but I did it. But it didn't come easy because I hadn't had the experience. Now I've had some experience. So how about let's write some new songs. Let's record some new songs and put them out there, man. I don't know. Look, I'm a fan of the new model. Like the idea I've had, Matt, is let's release that debut album on vinyl for the first time ever, which is the plan for this year. And the day that vinyl is, the day we announce that it's like a pre-sale, we should drop a brand new song right then on all the sites, Spotify, Apple Music, Pandora, Amazon, whatever. Uh, it's inexcusable that we shouldn't do that. That's what I'd like to do, and I hope we can accomplish that.
It's got to be pretty wild to reunite the band, talk about putting out new music in 2023, but then also talk about putting out a vinyl record for the first time, which is something that's been around for how long. And and Brother Kane has never been on vinyl, so you have the ability to do that at a time when now that vinyl sales are as high as they've ever been.
Man, I try not to ever sound like I got sour grapes or I'm kicking any dirt into the face of the record company. Man, there were some amazing people at Virgin Records, particularly their rock radio staff, the best promo staff in the business. I mean, period. But there were other departments, man, that they just couldn't, they never got on board with really what we were about. And, whatever. I get it. We weren't Lenny Kravitz and Janet Jackson and the Smashing Pumpkins, but I could tell we were definitely low man on the totem pole when the Pumpkins would have their new record on vinyl, and we never did. It's like, I think somebody's trying to tell us something. guys. So, never say never. Here we are all these years later. And it's going to be a beautiful package, Matt. Because if you think about it, CDs back then, man, we made them long. They were like 60 plus minutes. Well, you can't get more than about 8 songs on a vinyl without losing some sound quality if you try to cram more on there. So the way it's looking like it's going to come together is it'll be two discs, be a nice gatefold, beautiful, some never before seen photography from back in that time period. And yeah, I think we can make it really special.
It's sometimes you do these interviews and you talk to people and they've been through the process for so long that they don't seem as excited about it as maybe you think they would be. But I can see as you talk about it, the smile on your face and the excitement that you have about this stuff. It's contagious, man. It's something that you want people to feel. You want people to be as excited about this stuff as you are.
Well, I appreciate you saying that. It brings to mind, just looking back at ever since 2020, I mean, I've been in 8 bands, literally, John Waite, Red Halo, Slave to the System, Alice Cooper, Thin Lizzy, Whiskey Falls, Thin Lizzy, Black Star Riders. That's 8 bands. And of course, playing with Lizzy and Cooper, I mean, those are legendary bands. And there were always people coming to the show. All those other bands, man, it wasn't always a guarantee. It was kind of like starting from scratch. It's really hard, brother, to get a new rock band off the ground, and in the 21st century especially. So there is this it's kind of bizarre, this weird feeling of like, oh, well, I can do Brother Kane and people know those songs. We don't have to we don't have to sell them on, hey, these are good songs. They're already established, It's
Right.
Got No Shame is about to pass 10 million plays on Spotify, man. That's crazy. That's awesome. There's bands out there selling way more concert tickets than we are that aren't close to touching that. So, there's still so much about this, I guess, Matt. What I'm trying to say is that this is all still new for me. It's very exciting. Every time we play, we try to change the setup and add some things. We stretch a couple things, and at some point, man, I'd love to basically work up everything off all 3 records and be able to call an audible. Hey, man, we're going to play I Surrender off of Wish Pool instead of this. And then we just play it James Brown style. That'd be awesome.
Man, I'm looking forward to hearing some of those songs coming up on February 11th at the Vault with Karabi. That show is going to be great. The tickets are on sale right now. We're looking forward to that show. Obviously, can't talk to you without talking about you mentioned sort of your resume of all the other stuff you've done, but in the past few years, you've been on the road with Skynyrd, and so you'll be, correct me if I'm wrong, you'll be back in Michigan later this summer because you're doing that tour with Skynyrd and ZZ Top later on this year.
I am, Matt. It's such a thrill. It's an honor. I've said it many times, man. You can imagine for a kid from Alabama, I graduated high school in 1982. So that would have put me in the 7th grade when the plane crashed. I mean, I remember driving to school with my dad and it coming on the radio, announcing that tragedy. And we were already steeped in Skynyrd. My band, my garage band won the talent show in the 11th grade, and we played "Gimme 3 Steps," And of course, I've been playing "Sweet Home Alabama" since the first time I picked up an electric guitar. I mean, that was just the riff that you had to figure out how to play. So, for my career to have taken the path that it has, and then arrive here where I'm getting a phone call from Ricky Medlock and Johnny Van Zant asking if I might be able to help them out and fill in for Gary. It just doesn't happen, man. That's, people go, it's a dream come true. I'm like, what do you mean? It would have never occurred to me that.
Right.
So, I love those people so much, the entire organization, the band, the crew, their management. They've treated me so respectfully. They're excited to have me be a part of it. And most importantly, Matt, the fans have been incredible. Um, there's a lot of classic rock bands out there, as you know, that it's impossible for them to be performing with all the original members, whether it be from a death, if it be from an argument or a legal snafu or whatever. But Skynyrd has been basically paying tribute to that original band and those great songs for 35 years, man. They've been doing it kind of before anybody else. So
Right.
The fans are really the most humbling thing about all of this. They've been very accepting of me, and you can just tell by their expressions how much they appreciate that someone is filling in for Gary so they can come and hear these songs and celebrate that music. So it's a thrill for me, man, to be a part of it. And it's going to be fun this year. Yeah, Skynyrd, ZZ Top. Come on, man. That's a guitar smorgasbord.
Yeah, no doubt, man. And before that, you're doing the Brother Kane reunion stuff, which is huge, man. We're going to have a whole bunch of chances to see you in the state of Michigan, including coming up on February 11th at the Vault here in Saginaw. Show is just about 1 week away. Again, tickets at thevaulteventcenter.com. And I'll tell you what, man, David, this has been awesome. I appreciate you taking some time talking about all this stuff. And I'm looking forward to the show here coming up on February 11th.
Matt, this has been my pleasure, buddy. I appreciate you guys having me on. Thanks for helping organize this and connect the dots. And I'm happy to come on anytime. Continued success to you, and I really appreciate your enthusiasm, brother. Thank you so much.
Of course. Thanks for taking some time, and we'll see you next Saturday.
You got it. Looking forward to it, Matt.
All right, man. Thanks, Damon.
See you, buddy.
See you, dude.